Yes, I am. I'm sorry.
I didn't know if you were pre-looking or I didn't want to rush you. Welcome back to afternoon presentations. It's going to be a little fast. And we're going to start with Ms. Thompson. She's going to talk to you about green space.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'd like to start by asking who here has ever visited a national park before? Well, I'd like to inform you that you've been to what's called the green space. My name is Thompson, and my project was on the preservation of open reservations, the effects of green space on the green infrastructure on the ecosystem. I've lived in the country my entire life. I didn't know that green space was what I was surrounded by. That's when I realized that green space is actually really important. For my community service, I chose the Maymont Foundation because it is a green space. Sally and Henry Dooley founded the Maymont Foundation so that the land could be preserved for new generations to enjoy. Maymont houses a very different variety of species of animals such as ducks, cows, goats, bald eagles, gray foxes, bobcats, bisons, otters, snakes, owls, and turtles. My goal while working at the Children's Barn of Maymont was to have a better understanding of the benefits of green space, such as Maymont, that can present for the animals. My mentor was Miss Athena Parker, who was the director of the volunteer department. My job at the Children's Barn was a docent. I was responsible for the animals, and I handled the crowd control. A typical day for me would be to go down to the nature center. I would pick up my volunteer badge, make my way down all the way to the Children's Barn. I'd find my folder filled with brochures and maps, and then I'd stand patiently and wait for any guests who might have had questions that needed to be answered, and I'd also watch out for anyone who might attempt to mistreat the animals. It was then I realized that these animals would need care. This led me to my internship. I worked at the Montpelier Veterinary Hospital. I wanted to observe animal care procedures. My mentors were Dr. Allison and Dr. Scott, and they both graduated from the Virginia, Maryland Regional College of Veterinary Medicine. They have been the owners of the Montpelier Vet Hospital for over 8 years. I observed procedures such as euthanizations and cat spades. I will now take you through a process of what a cat spade would be like. First, a catheter is inserted into the leg of the cat. Next, a respirator is continuously circulates the airflow through the cat while it is unconscious. Because the cat is unaware of its surroundings, it is easily groomed. Next, the site of the incision is shaved and then sanitized. Dr. Scott makes the incision, and then he proceeds to remove the ovaries, as you see in this picture right here. Next, Dr. Scott closes up the site of the incision, and the cat is sent to the recovery room. From there, it is my job to place the used surgical tools inside of the steamer. This is a huge responsibility because if the steamer was used incorrectly, it could actually explode. So it's very My experiences with the vet hospital and Maymont showed me that people need green space to reduce stress and improve overall health. Green space began in the 1870s, around the time that urban farming began to prosper. It was designed to preserve the natural environment surrounded by neighboring urbanized areas. The heat island effect is when the temperatures in an urban setting are higher as opposed to the lower temperatures found in more rural areas. On an average, there is a 5 to 10 degrees Celsius difference in the temperatures in the city versus the country. For example, tree-shaded areas have an average temperature of 28 degrees Celsius, whereas asphalt-covered areas have an average temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. A technique that was used to reduce the consequences of the heat island effect is green roofing. Green roofs improve air quality, biodiversity, energy conservation, and reduces stress. The average cost for green roofs are $10 per square foot for simple roofing and $25 per square foot for intensive roofs. It costs about $4,000 to $7,000 to retrofit a building to accommodate green roofing. Next, wildlife corridors are important because they link habitats to larger habitats. They also prevent habitat fragmentation by dispersing individuals between areas of remaining habitats. Wildlife corridors are built with a random design. Surprisingly, they are asymmetrical. Wildlife corridors are beneficial because they decrease inbreeding and decrease the likelihood of a local species extinction. Next, I'd like to talk about my legacy. I joined the Louisa County High School Envirothon Club. In Envirothon, we compete against neighboring counties using the knowledge that we acquired by studying our surrounding green space. If we win as a team, I am helping to design the landscape for a green space. In the near future, I will be working with Mr. Downey and Ms. Jankitis, and I will be working with the development of the landscaping plan for the new high school. This is in its beginning stages. I learned to improve my public socialization skills because I was put into positions where I had to socialize with people that I didn't already know. And this has always been a huge difficulty of mine because I'm actually a pretty shy person, even though I have a loud personality. So I had to get over the fact that I'm gonna, be meeting new people every single day. I also expanded my horizons by discovering and joining the Louisa County High School Envirothon Club. I also improved my self-confidence by being able to make my own decisions during my internship. I was accepted to the Longwood University for art therapy. I plan to include the exposure of my patients to the green space as an art setting. I'd like to thank Dr. Scott and Dr. Allison, my mentors during my internship, Ms. Athena Parker, my mentor during my community service, my wonderful advisor, Ms. Jack Wicks, for helping me through this entire thing, and my Envirothon coach, Ms. Jankitis. Are there any questions?
I saw a picture of it. Maybe kind of use it to just help us understand how that works.
So with wildlife corridors, they're kind of like an overpass on a highway, and what they do is they connect one side of the habitat to the other, and it decreases the amounts of accidents every year because people always hit deer as they're trying to cross from one side of the road to the other. But with wildlife corridors, it enables the deer to safely cross from one section of the habitat to the other without possibly getting hit by a car. Oh no, it moves other animals such as, I know panthers were, they used wildlife corridors in Florida for panthers. The first wildlife corridor that they used were actually for turtles, and it was underground instead of over. And
So this one's on a highway, so I'm just wondering how far would the next one be on the highway?
they're usually like about a mile apart because if they're too far, I'm pretty sure an animal wouldn't go out of their way just to try to make it across the wildlife corridor. So, yeah.
Are there any cases in which you see the green space being implemented on roofs locally? Like, do you see that anywhere?
Actually, in Charlottesville, they've been using more and more green roofing in Charlottesville.
How exactly do green space groups in urban areas do increase air quality? Do they allow oxygen dispersed?
It just makes the air cleaner. I mean, I guess from like smog and things like that you accommodate from cities. It just, the more greener it is, the better the air quality. Any other questions?